Have you ever done anything like this before?
No, not a podcast, no.
But you do radio.
I've done radio a little bit.
Nervous?
Play-by-play, high school baseball, that kind of stuff. Not play-by-play, color, I guess.
Right.
No, I'm not nervous. Why would I be nervous?
I don't want you getting crying.
No, I don't think that's going to happen.
All right.
Now, I may stutter once or twice.
All right, man, you ready to kick this thing off?
I'm ready, buddy.
Let's do it, baby. Here we go. Intro music. Listen to that. Feel that. You feel it?
Oh, I'm in.
All right, here we go. The Teaching a Rock Star podcast in Orangefield, Texas, one of my favorite schools. We're going to spend some time hanging out with Coach Smalley. He is the big man on campus.
Is that a fat joke?
No, but we'll get to those. Don't you worry. We're gonna
I knew it was coming. Don't worry.
All right, we got dates coming up. Hey, listen, if you guys are looking at your calendars, you're going to notice that August will be here before you know it, and we have dates available for all the back-to-school stuff, so give us a call, and we'll get a date on the calendar for you. All right, let's get this thing going. All right, Coach Smalley, this is the inaugural podcast for you, true?
Very excited about it, yes.
Oh, my gosh. And and by the way, you're the first coach we've ever had.
Golly, what an honor.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
You got to raise the standards a little bit, I think.
No, we've got high standards. That's why you're here. All right. So, hey, man, I love this new weight room.
You like it?
I love it. It's amazing. This is what a weight room should be.
Well, the kids really deserve all the credit. They went out and did a fundraiser and worked hard and raised a lot of money in the community, did a good job supporting the kids. So all credit goes to those young guys for doing it, and they're the reason why we have this nice stuff now.
Yeah, man, it's beautiful. It is beautiful. And so, but when you showed up here, first of all, how many years have you been here?
I'm finishing my 6th year as athletic director, head football coach.
And you haven't been fired yet?
Probably a couple times in the stands, but not by the people that count. You know.
All right. That's what we're going to get to some of that too. But let's take it back, man. So here's what I know about coaches is my experience has been that those men that come into the profession of coaching, it might be 100%. All of them that I've talked to, there was a coach that was there for them. When they were in middle school and high school, there were significant male figures that were on the coaching staff that made a difference in their lives. And is that true for you?
No question. My high school year, freshman year, I had a world geography teacher named Richard Briggs at Bridge City High School, and he's the guy. Had him as a freshman for world geography, had him again for U.S. history. And by the time I was a junior in high school, I knew exactly what I wanted to do in life, and that was to be an educator and a coach. And a lot of it was because of the way he dealt with kids. He took time to develop a relationship with you. He cared about you. He told you he cared about you. Yeah. So, I mean, all that stuff. But, yeah, he's the guy that really directed me in this profession. What
year was this? What year did you graduate?
I graduated in '94.
All right, because back then at that time, man, there was I graduated in '86, and what I remember, there's really two styles of coaching that I saw going through the Katy schools, and those are the ones that really care about you and build that relationship. Other ones, it was pretty military style.
Yes.
And you didn't feel like they cared about you. You're just trying to avoid the pain.
Yes. I mean, you've got some that, we talk about all the time. You got some that are standoffish, and you almost feared even speaking to them, and you didn't want. And then you got others that, patted you on the back and told you they cared about you, invested time in you. And those people still got on you. Don't get me wrong. They held you accountable and all that kind of stuff. But they could do it because you knew they cared about you and you were willing to take the discipline because you knew they were looking out for your best interest.
Yeah. And, what I have found is, there's that style of coaching where you're afraid, but also the style of coaching, you have such a deep relationship, like you don't want to disappoint that dude.
Sure. Yeah, no question.
And, man, what I have seen on the football field or on the court, on the mat, is those kids that don't want to disappoint, they outwork the other kids that are afraid.
Well, that's where the relationship comes in. Kids will run through a brick wall for you if they think you care about them. If you invested the time in them and built that relationship with them, and they know you care about them and you got their best interest, and you use the word love and all that, they'll work hard. They don't want to disappoint you. They'll work their tail off for you. It's the ones that you see where a kid has no relationship. He knows the coach doesn't care about him. He knows the coach has no interest in him. How can you expect that young man to go out there and lay it on the line for you? And then most of the time they won't.
No, hell no. And, and man, the other thing is, like, in society right now, for so many kids, that coach really is the dad.
Yes. it's getting more like that every year now. I mean, we got a lot of single parent homes, we got a lot of no parent homes, we got a lot of grandparent homes, and we've got some kids in our district that are living with their friends' parents and things like that. And so we may be the only male role model in that young man or young female's life right now. And so we may be the only person that can influence them and have that relationship with them. So you get to decide each day what kind of influence you want to have, positive or negative. And I'm going to choose to be positive. Not that I am every day, but for the most part, I'm going to choose to be positive. And hopefully, a lot of the educators and coaches will choose the same route.
Yeah, man. I always say it's going to be a monumental impact either way. It's going to be positive or negative, but they're going to remember it forever.
Yep.
So I think going in, thinking about that and, being able to articulate in your mind what kind of an impact I want to have and choosing to have that impact every day, that's critical, especially for these kids, man.
Well, to me, I tell people all the time, it's the greatest profession this side of the pearly gates. That we got a chance every day to influence young people every day. And it's our decision if we want to do it negative or positive. And when you look at it that way, and you might be the only male role model they have, and you might be the only person they can look up to and see how you handle situations, see how you handle adversity, see how you handle failure, boy, it makes it a lot more it makes you a little more nervous, and you understand the impact you have on these kids. It's not just, and it changes as I got older. When I was a younger coach, I probably didn't feel this way as much. I got in it because I wanted to win and I enjoyed athletics and all that. But as I've matured and gotten older and fatter, by the way, I see what the profession is supposed to be about, and it's more than wins and losses. And if I get fired tomorrow because of a loss, but I've had a tremendous impact on these kids, you know what? I can walk away with my head held high because I've done what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, every time.
Yeah,
that's amazing. I tell you what, man, is when I see when I see kids on the football field, and they're out there for 2 days, and it's like 173, and they're sore, and it hurts, and I think to myself, like, what is driving that kid to show up and do this?
it's crazy.
It's really unbelievable. And I think, having that relationship in place, that's why they do it. I mean, kids want to compete, and they want to win, they want to be a part of a team, and all that's great. But if that relationship with a significant coach on the field, if that's not in place first, they're not going to show up, man. They just don't do it.
No question. I mean, and you're not far off from 173 degrees, and it's hard on the coaches too. I used to think when I was a player, I used to laugh at the coaches all the time. What are you griping about? You ain't doing nothing, But now that I'm a coach, I mean, it's still hot and it's still humid, but it's hard, man. I mean, it's the 1st of August. It's 100% humidity. It's hot. It's not fun to put 20 pounds of whatever equipment on and run full speed into somebody else or have them run full speed into you. So it takes a little sacrifice and a little commitment. It takes them enjoying the sport, obviously, but it also takes that relationship where they want to come not only for the coach, but their relationship with their teammates. They don't want to disappoint their teammates either, and so they show up every day. And it amazes me every year to watch our kids go through 2-a-days and then start the program and then kind of see where you're at the end of the year, kind of how far they come from start to finish.
Yeah, man, it's the metamorphosis of the kid. And you know what, man, here's the other thing is I always, when I hear those teachers, I hear a lot of teachers say, well, I can't get this kid to do anything. And I always think about the relationship that same kid has with the coach. I'm thinking, are you kidding me? He's out there in 173 degrees running full speed head first into some other dude.
Yeah.
And you can't get him to your class with a pencil.
Right.
And I was a victim of that too, man. When I had those kids when I first started teaching, and I'd get frustrated with the kid that wouldn't bring his materials to class, and I'd go out and see that kid in the weight room, out working everybody. I'm thinking, this kid is 4 or 5 minutes tardy to my class every day. He's the most strongest, fastest kid on the team, but he's there for football practice. So maybe it's not the kid, maybe it's me.
Yeah, that's a hard thing to realize sometimes. A lot of adults don't want to look at that. They all want to blame the kids and blame this instead of looking in the mirror and say, if I keep having this happen year in and year in and year out and year out, maybe I look in the mirror, maybe I need to change something. Maybe it ain't the kid, maybe it's me. And I've had to do that a lot over the years, and I think everybody should take that approach to it because nobody's perfect. You can always learn in your craft and get better. And sometimes those kids, athletics or FFA or drama or sometimes that's the only reason they crawl out of bed and come to school in the morning.
Yeah.
And so you take an interest. I may have a kid that's not in athletics but is in ag, and I'll go take an interest in his ag stuff because I know that's what he enjoys. Well, that helps me to develop a relationship with him, even though he's not in athletics, but it lets you know you care about him. That way, if that kid one day wants to come to athletics, I've already built that relationship with that kid, and sometimes that relationship will draw them into athletics, you know. And so I never wanted to be a coach that I was the reason why a kid didn't play. You know, that would really hurt me. If a kid said, I don't want to play athletics because of that guy and the way he treats me or whatever, that would crush my soul. So I don't want to be that guy, you know.
Yeah. Now, when you were growing up with your parents, did you have a kind of a stable home and that, you know, two parents, a traditional thing?
Mom and dad divorced when I was 22, so from you know, birth to college graduation, they were together. But after that, yeah. But most part, yes.
One of those couples that stay together for the kids.
You know, I don't know if my mom will say that. You know, but, you know, she's a wonderful lady. But yeah, as soon as I got out of college, they kind of called it quits.
Yeah, yeah. And then when you became a teacher, what was your first gig? Where
Bridge City High School. I taught freshmen.
Wait a minute, you went to your alma mater.
Oh yeah, right.
Was it weird?
A little bit, because I mean I was 22 years old, and some of the kids were 17, 18 that, you know, weren't that much younger than me. You know, and now you're the authority.
And you
figure.
knew them growing up.
Yes, and their families, and I mean I never left.
Yeah.
You know, but I taught freshman geography and sophomore world history, and then coached football, basketball, and did baseball too.
Right, because in small town, man, you do it all.
You do everything.
Here's what I love about small town. You know, I started out in small town, and I would, you know, in the morning I'd go pick up my breakfast taco and my coffee, and it'd be the same old men sitting at the little table, and they would talk about football and baseball and basketball games from like the 40s, and they could tell you play by play. I mean, they're still talking about it.
Yeah.
I love that, man.
It's, you know, I tell the kids all the time, you know, when you're 20 years out of high school or 30 years out of high school, and this is not disrespectful to any core teacher or anything like that, but you don't go to your 30-year reunion and talk about your grade in algebra. You know, you go and you talk about how you did against, you know, Bridge City in football, or you go talk about making the baseball playoffs, or you go talking about, you know, the drama, the one-act play. Those are the things that you talk about in your 30-year reunion. And so, you know, if you want to do something in high school, then go do it, you know, because they don't call you back when you're my age and say, hey, will you come play for us again? You know, you get one opportunity, you get 4 years of high school to do the things you want to do. So even if it's a small school or big school, man, go do everything.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, and not only do they talk about those moments and all those activities, but they also talk about those teachers.
Yeah, no question.
You know, especially in those core classes, because, you know, like I always tell teachers, like, man, the kid has Google on the phone.
Yeah.
Like, he can access your content. You know, I mean, if you could take a kid and put him in a college class right now, let him use his phone on the test, he's probably going to do okay.
That's right.
So what is it that you really want that kid to remember for the rest of his life when he's at the 30-year reunion and he's thinking, and those kids are talking about their kooky teachers?
Yeah.
What is it that you want what's the one lesson you want that kid to take away? Because in athletics, especially for you guys, and I think we talked about this before, like, how many NFL professional football players do you have out there?
There's 32 teams and there's 53 men on an active roster.
How many of those came out of your program?
0.
And so we're not training kids to be professional football players.
That's right.
But for me, man, this really is career education. I really believe that marching band, football, track, all that, FFA, welding, it's just as much career education as those career and technology classes, because in football, in basketball, baseball, band, drill team, they really are learning those skills they're going to use every day.
Well, and you learn skills. To me, one of the biggest ones is handling adversity. You know, because life don't get easier when you walk across that stage in May. You know, it actually gets a little tougher, and they sometimes don't understand that. And so if you can go through trials and go through adversity and go through failure and learn not to quit and get back up and keep going and all that, that's all going to help you in life. And sometimes handling success, you know, not letting things go to your head. Sometimes successful people forgot how they became successful. And to, you know, hey, we're successful, we had a lot of success, but how do we do it? Oh, yeah, we worked hard, so we got to continue to work hard instead of slacking up. So I think athletics can teach a lot of great, you know, lessons about life lessons, how to handle things. And so that's why I really enjoy what I do.
Yeah. You know, I've always heard that, you know, coaches talking about that, you know, having their kids learning how to win. I thought that's like a fascinating concept. Like, what does that mean? Like, how do you learn? Like, especially you hear it in basketball all the time. You know, well, you know, we just haven't got to the final. You know, we're in the Final Four, but the reason we bailed out early because we just never learned how to win this season. Yeah. It's a fascinating concept.
It's unbelievable, and it's all about the mindset. It's all about tradition sometimes, you know, and like I'll say us, you know, we've been in the playoffs 5 years in a row here in football. We've never gotten past the second round. School's never been past the second round. That's history. So what do you got to do to break through to get past the second round. And you got other schools, one right down the road has been in the state championship 4 years in a row. Yeah. You know, when they start two-a-days in August, they're not talking about getting past the second round. They're talking about playing in December.
Right.
And so that mindset, that mentality is already there. And, you know, and you'll see some teams that when they're in a close game and things are kind of getting tense, and sometimes they have a tendency when the stress gets there, they kind of buckle and fall instead of those teams that have that success and they rise to the occasion. So when you hear about learning how to win and all that, that's kind of what it's talking about. How do we create that mindset where we're just not going to be average and we're just not going to be good, but we're going to be great.
Yeah.
And that's where we're trying to get here, not only as an athletic program, but as people. I don't want you to be a good person. I want you to be a great person. I don't want you to be a good team. I want you to be a great team. But then understand what it takes to be great is part of it too.
Man, I'm a fan of sports for sure, but you know, I'm really a fan of is like the psychology of sports, where I love watching close games like that, and every chance on television I get, I want to look in those eyes of those players, because you can see the ones that just get to the next level, like a Tom Brady, like whatever that crazy psychology that guy has. I mean, you can tell he's coming back.
Yeah.
He's going down the field. He's going to score. Everybody on the field knows it. It's just amazing to watch, where you can see the fear in other guys' eyes.
You know, preparation, I think, is huge. And you can talk about Brady. The preparation those guys put in is unbelievable. So they've already seen it, and that guy's been in the league 18, 19 years. So there's not much you can do defensively that he hadn't seen, already been through. And like you were talking about earlier, you see a kid work out, and he's the strongest kid in the program, but he won't bring his pencil to class, you know. And I think that's part of it too, that each kid has their own unique gifts. And so, you know, how can we teach a kid to read a defense, to read a coverage, to know who to throw it to based on what coverage that guy's in, and do it in a 4-second window, you know, but he can't go do science or something, you know. And so he's got the ability to do it. How do you draw it out of him? And I think you have to make it fun for him. You have to make it interesting to him. And how you do that, I think that's up to each individual, you know, teacher and all that. But to just totally shut him off because you don't think he can do science, you know, come out here with us one day and watch film with us and listen to that kid break down every position on the field and what coverage that defense is in, and, you know, where he needs to throw the ball, and do it in, you know, the time of a snap of a finger. He's got the ability to do it. It's up to us as teachers and coaches to pull that ability out of them.
Yeah. I'm a fan of coaches. You know that. So people ask me, like, what teams do you follow? I don't really follow teams. I follow coaches. Like wherever that coach goes, I want to see, because whether it's a school or an organization, a company, but especially a team, it's amazing what bringing in one person can have an impact. But, you know, you bring that person in and they're going to be successful. It's just a matter of, it will be this year, maybe not next year, probably, but here they come. Yeah, it's just amazing.
You know, and. They've got the ones that are really good, the Belichicks, the Sabans, those guys that are really, really good, have a system, and they know their system. But I think one of the most impressive things about those two guys is that they're not afraid to go learn something new and change. You know, a lot of people are scared to change. This is the way we've done it for 20 years, and I'm not changing nothing. I've taught it this way for 20 years, the way I'm teaching it. And, you know, you can forget change, but if there's two coaches in the football era that have every right to turn around and look at the media and everybody and say, you know what, this is what we're doing and we're not changing for nothing, it would be Belichick and Saban. Yeah. But if you go look every year, they're always going finding new ways to do things, better ways to improve their program. So if those two guys can do it, you're telling me I can't?
Right.
And so, I mean, I'll go talk to a tree if I feel like it's going to make my program better.
Man, it's like Belichick showing up at the Spurs basketball practice, talking to Popovich, trying to figure out how he runs practice and what he can take away from basketball practice, put on the football field.
Yeah, I mean, and he don't have to do that. Guy's won 5 Super Bowls. I mean, he could just, this is what we're doing, and you can live with it. But he doesn't. He goes out and tries to find better ways to improve. I think teachers can do that too.
Yeah.
I don't care if you've been teaching 30 years and you've won all kinds of awards. There might be something out there that you can go learn and bring back to your classroom that might make it better. It might reach that one kid that maybe you think you can't reach, you know.
I'll tell you what, man, there's, you know, that's the downfall of, it's probably, I'm sure it's the same in coaching, is, you know, being that repeated first year coach. Because, for some teachers, you know, for a school system that really does not have a good professional development programs or mentoring programs, there's a lot of teachers that get into the classroom. By the way, you know, teaching is the only profession on the planet where they expect the same of you in your first day, your first year, as a 30-year veteran. Like, you're expected to produce the same results. and teachers get in there, close the door, and they try to do their thing. And you know, oftentimes they're not mentored, they don't have help, and they struggle through the school year. And many times they're a second year, first year teacher, and then become a third year, first year teacher. But it's the same thing for coaches, you know. But here's what's cool, man. There's so much mentoring built in to kind of the coaching hierarchy. Like when you come on board at a school as a first year coach, you're not the head coach. You don't have the same you know, you're a position coach, and there's somebody above you who's going to help you along the way. Man, I wish we had that for our classroom teachers.
I mean, that's what, you know, when I started out, I was a GA or graduate assistant at a high school in Bridge City. I was 19 years old. You know, I'd go to class in the mornings. I'd come after school and coach junior high kids. So I did that for 4 years or 3 years till I graduated. Then I started out freshman. And I started out varsity position coach. Then I advanced to a coordinator. And then once I was a coordinator for a while, then I became a head coach. You know, I didn't go from, you know, a 22-year-old college graduate to head coach. You know, and thank God I didn't, because I wouldn't have nowhere been ready. You know, I probably wasn't ready when I got this job. Thought I was. You know, learned quickly. There were some things I wasn't really ready for. But in 6 years, I've kind of progressed and gotten better. But you're right. I mean, it's one of those things where we do have a good profession of helping each other out. I mean, I've made 5 trips this year to different schools to ask their guys how they do things. It may be off season or running plays or whatever, but every year during the off season, I'll try to seek out good programs, go visit those guys, and then see if there's one thing or 2 things I can pull back from them, then I can implement here with us to make us better. And we've done that for 6 years, and there's a lot of things we've learned and pulled back that have made us better.
Yeah, man. You know, and that's another thing. You know, I always wonder, because when it gets down to it, on some level, your job depends on wins.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Dr. Patterson's an awesome guy, and he believes in what you do for kids. But man, if you're going for whatever,
there's no
year
question.
after year after year, that's not going to last long.
No, and you know that you can't be a head coach and not understand that.
And I think that's the foundation. Because of that foundation, like, you guys have to go learn. You have to go find out what works and go pull that in. And you know, I really think if a classroom teacher's job depended on winning. Like I mean, if you hypothetically, if you put a class on the field in front of 6,000 fans screaming at them and screaming at their teacher on Friday night, it'd be a whole different scene, man.
Well, I think as a teacher, surely there's somebody either in your district or the neighboring district that I think some would consider a master teacher or a successful teacher that,
or just different.
Yeah, something that they're reaching kids and having good success that, I mean, would be happy if somebody came and asked questions to, and you can always go learn and see what they can do. It's readily available if you're willing to maybe go travel a little bit and find somebody and seek out some things.
Yeah, which is happening here in Orangefield. So we have a trip coming up. I guess it's next week, man. Next Sunday, I think about a dozen faculty members and administrators from Orangefield are going to head to Rosenberg, Texas, and go visit Polly Ryan Middle School in Lamar and ISD, and they have an amazing. What's different, and there's so many great schools out there. This is like a different kind of great, and do some things that other people don't. So what's cool about this district is just sending people out there to see if there's anything we can find. Because man, that's what I tell people. Like, it's not the monumental things that you're just looking for. Little things. It's those little things, the simplest, littlest things, the fundamental things that we do over and over and over that make the biggest, profound difference.
No question, and that's what I was talking about earlier about going and visiting successful football programs. I've gone and visited 3 state champions this year, and we can't do everything they do. Katie's a different beast. They got 9,000 kids or whatever, that we don't. And some of the other schools, Carthage has won 6 state championships since 2007. We can't do exactly what they do. But what I have found is there's 2 or 3 things that all of them do that are real similar. And saying, can we pull those 2 or 3 things over here and do it? And most of the time it's yeah. They don't all do the exact same things, but they all do 2 or 3 things real similar, and it makes them helps them be successful. And if we can pull those 2 or 3 things here, it's going to help us. I think teaching's the same thing.
Yeah.
You can go visit a school that's successful. It may not be the exact same, and they may be a bigger school, have more money and all that kind of stuff. But is there 1 or 2 things that they do that you can pull back to Orangefield, Texas, that helps us grow? And I think the answer is yes.
Every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so many amazing people doing amazing things for kids out there. And the funny thing is, I've learned the more I go around, I'll see something, I was like, man, that's a great idea, and I'll remember, wait a minute, I did that. I used to do that. what? No, why did I stop doing that? That was great.
Yeah.
You know, I think sometimes we get caught up in the grind of the everyday thing. We lose on occasion some of the stuff that worked in the past.
Sure.
That we could bring back.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it ain't always about reaching for the newest gimmick either. I mean, there's some things you can pull, but don't ever lose, you know, what you have done that has helped you be successful as well. I think you can add things to what you've done, but don't ever quit doing what you've been doing to be successful.
Yeah. All right, man, I'm gonna give you a quick coaching story. You ready?
You got it.
All right, man. So I'm first job. I'm the band director. I'm living with coaches. I'm like the coaching mascot, and you know, they make fun of me. I'm smarter than them, so I make fun of them. But they, you know, they let me. So we at night, man. After we'd go, I don't even know how we lived. Like, I can't believe we survived, because we would teach all day. They would coach all day, and then we'd hang out at the house, and we would watch dog races on the TV, betting on dog races while playing poker, all at the same time.
Y'all must have made a lot of money for all that gambling.
Listen, it was pennies, man, pennies and nickels. And so, all right, so I got to be friends with him. And now, as part of my band director job, that means you ran a clock at the basketball games. And so that's cool. I can do that. So I'm running the clock. And we're in this close game, you know, and we're 2 points down, and the coach keeps looking at me and kind of giving me the nod, you know, like, easy.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, what are you doing? And so at the end of the game, he goes, man, what are you doing with the clock? I go, what do you mean with the clock? Because we were down by 2. I said, what are you talking? You got to slow it down,
Yeah.
man. So, okay. And so the next game, we're up by 4. At the end of the game, he's kind of giving me, let's speed this thing up. And I'm like, you know, the clock only goes so fast.
Yeah.
So then I start getting the hang of this thing, where I've realized I could watch the ball, watch the ref, and I can ease that clock on if we're behind, if I can get a little juicer if we're heading, you know, if we're winning. And so this goes on for a few weeks, and then my superintendent gets a letter in the mail that one of the parents has me on videotape. Playing with the clock, and I get a sanction from the state, man.
Really?
Yeah, something like I get in the magazine, whatever your UIL.
Yeah, the leaguer.
Yeah, like on the back.
The leaguer. Yeah.
I guess
That's crazy.
It was a lot of coaching cred, man. I got coaching cred right there. They man, he's the real deal.
That guy's got your back from the rest of life now. That's unbelievable. I can't believe they did that to you.
It was good, and man, but I tell you what. Here's the thing. You know, man, I've been around the school a lot, and just and with these kids and these teachers, and seeing the level of just the depth of a relationship that you have with administrators, teachers, and kids, and how much you invest in that, man, is just it's inspiring, dude. It's awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's why you do it. You know, like I said, it may not have been when I was 22 while I got in to do it, but as I've grown and matured a little bit, it's about kids, you know. And if there's one word I think educators need to know is love. I mean, if you love your kids and love what you're doing, you're going to be successful, and you can be tough. I mean, there is such thing as tough love, but the key word is love. Yeah. You can be a disciplined person. You can hold people accountable as long as those kids know you care about them and you got the best interest. The minute you lose that, I think things are going to be difficult for you. It's going to be a battle, you know, throughout. But it's a great community. To see our community come back from a little devastation, you know, sometimes adversity brings out the best in people, and it definitely did. You know, with this, I mean, we still got kids that aren't in their homes, and but they show up every day at school with smiles on their faces. They lift weights, they study, they do all that kind of stuff. And I don't know if I could have done it at 16 years old, what our kids and teachers have done here. And our administrators got good leadership, and we got great people like you that come in and help out all the time and help our kids grow and become better people, and encourage our administrators and teachers. Man, you have no idea. I tell people that when I go talk at Rotaries and stuff. I said, man, the best thing you guys could do is support us. And it may be a phone call. Yeah. It may be an email saying, Coach, you're doing a good job. Keep it up. Or, you know, whatever. Miss Dr. Patterson, your district's doing great. Or, you know, I said those kind of things help tremendously, because sometimes you forget the job you're doing. And, you know, you get a day-to-day where things don't seem so good, and you go the next day and things don't seem so good, and you kind of forget the good that you're doing because all you hear is the bad. So sometimes, man, just that little positive from anybody. Yep. Brings you back to, oh yeah, that's why I'm doing this, you know, and it helps out a lot.
I call it the teacher payday. Yeah. It's really what it is.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, other professions, it really is the 1st and 15th, but in this gig, there's not one of us that signed up for the big money.
Yeah,
we're here for the real payday, which is just, man, it's just a thank you. It's just appreciation to see that it's working. Yeah. You know, to see the kid cross the stage, or to see the kid, you know, reach way beyond what anybody thought was his potential because of how much you've pushed him and guided him and mentored him, inspired him and motivated him, and driven that kid.
Sometimes it's winning a game you might not think you should win.
Yeah.
I mean, in all honesty, sometimes you go against an opponent and if you played them 10 times, they probably beat you 10 times. But that one night, that one week, that one whatever, you go out there and beat them, and you kind of look over and you see the elation on the kid's face that, oh my goodness, we just did this. And man, to see moments like that, I don't care. I've had a coach tell me before, I felt like I was getting paid to play. I'm going to work for free. I get to play, be around kids and athletics, and man, sometimes it feels like that I would kind of do this for free. I probably wouldn't be married to have kids or anything like that. But I mean, there's days I come in for free and just because I love being here.
Yep. Yeah. This is it, man. You found it, man. You have any aspirations of moving on and doing that big school thing, or
not right now?
Man,
no,
you love it here.
I love the small school thing. I love that our kids are involved in a lot of stuff.
Yep.
We don't have a whole lot of specialty kids that play one sport. We got most of our kids play 3 sports or 2 sports. I like that about it. I like my kids going to a small school where they get a lot of one-on-one stuff. My wife works here. She loves it. We live in the community. Maybe one day, but if they run me off, I may not have a choice. But as long as they'll have me right now, I'm happy to be here. I love the kids. I like the way we work. We don't deal with a lot of discipline issues, things like that. It's really a good place to be.
Yeah, man. When I travel around the nation, one of the there's like 3 or 4 questions people always ask, and when a guy comes up at like an event, I know it's coming. He goes, "Man, is it really what they say it is? Like the football thing in Texas? Is it that intense?" I said, "Man, whatever you think it is, it's like that times 10."
Well, people will ask me. We'll go to conferences out of state, and they're like, what's it like? I'm like, look, there's good football players all over the country. Florida, California, Alabama, in the north. There's football players everywhere. I said, if you come to Texas and watch a game, don't go to the big school. Don't go to Allen,
right,
where there's 10,000 people there. I said, go to a small school where there's 2,000 people in the whole community, and you go to a football game on Friday night and there's 4,000 people in the stands.
Yeah.
I said, that's the impressive part. We got 500 kids in our high school, but 2,000, 2,500 people will show up at a football game on Friday night. And it's a band, and there's a drill team, and there's cheerleaders, and there's this and that and the other. I said, that's the huge part. The players, there's players everywhere across the country. There's good coaches across the country everywhere. But the love of high school football in Texas, as far as communities actually shutting down and going to a game, is something I haven't seen anywhere else.
No, it's amazing. And I didn't even know small schools existed because, I went to Katy and that's a specialty school,
That used to be a small school, didn't it, a long time ago?
Years ago, man, like in the rice fields. But, but when I was there, it was like big 5A. It was the big thing. And so I didn't know. I didn't sign up for football, but they put me in there. And 'cause that's what they do. They put all the boys in football, and I'm in the band, man. And I went to the football practice. I'm like, Coach, I don't think I'm supposed to be here. And he goes, Yeah, you are. And I said, I don't think I should be doing this. And she, you need to come out to practice, and we don't have any gear for you, so you need to just stand on the sideline right there with the rest of those boys. So I'm standing on the sideline, and these are like full. Dude, I'm like 5'4" and 120 pounds, and these are men.
Yeah.
Like 250-pound men slamming. I'm thinking there is no way. I'm like, Coach, I really need to be in the band. This is not for me, man. I wrestled in New Jersey before. I don't mind contact, but not with that size of a person.
It's weird. And look at Katy now has a $62 million football stadium.
Yeah.
You got to be kidding me.
Right.
Honestly, I'm a football coach. That's a little much. $60 million for a stadium.
Right.
That's crazy. But you can support it in this state, and they do it, and it kind of tells you, I guess, sadly, what the value system is sometimes when they're building a $60 million stadium. But you're letting teachers go or whatever. It's sad, but it's Texas.
And so like I go to Texas Tech and I see that, and so there's a football thing going on there. But my first job at that little tiny town in Pettis, Texas, it was I get there in band, and so we've got I've got everybody in band. Everybody, I put it, just like they do in football, I put everybody in a band. And so I've got all the kids, and the teachers loved it, man, because of an extra conference period. Yeah. And so I put everybody in band. If you can't play, it doesn't matter. You just hold it and point it that way.
Yeah. That would have been me.
Right.
That would have been me.
And so, but here's the thing. So at halftime, you know, I got football players that take off the shoulder pads and helmet, put the shirt back on, and we got kids jumping over the snack bar to come out, and they got pep rally. Maybe a third of my kids had a band uniform on.
That's awesome.
And everybody, and we did the halftime show, and the players run into the locker room, and they give extra time because all the kids have to do band, you know. And it was amazing. And I thought, man, this is kind of the way it's supposed to be.
And we've had some kids do that here in the drums. They'll go out, we'll have halftime, and they take shoulder pads off, go out there, play the drums a little bit, and come right back in.
Yeah, I love it.
It's different. And not everybody can do it. And if you're at a big school, sometimes you don't have that option, you know. But here, our kids are able to explore a lot of things and do a lot of things. And you know, where we might not be financially like some other schools and things like that. They get a lot of experience here doing a lot of good things.
Yeah, and I think it's good for teachers too, because when I signed up to be a band director, I had no idea it's gonna be running the long jump pit. But listen, man, if you want to have rehearsals after, you better do the long jump pit.
Yeah.
If you expect that coach to let your track kids come on Wednesday, you're gonna be there.
Scratch.
Yeah,
that's it.
But the worst part, man, I was down there by Fall City. How those Czech kids, I can't pronounce those names.
Yes.
I'm yelling out, all right.
Yeah.
The kid with one vowel and 8 consonants.
Yeah,
that kid,
you're up.
You're next.
Yeah.
In the hole is the other kid with a name that looks like yours.
They'll do that around here with the Louisiana kids. Bear and Hebert, spelled the same, pronounced totally different.
I learned last week. I learned about Trahan and Trahan.
Trahan and Trahan.
Yeah, those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Good luck with that.
All right, brother. Hey, man, I appreciate you hanging out.
Thanks for having me, man. I really enjoyed this.
Awesome. Thanks for all you do, man. Those kids, you know, the kids I get to spend time with here, they always talk about those adults that have truly made an impact in their lives. And there's a few names that come up regularly, and yours is one of them, man. So, man, the stuff that you're trying to do, it works.
I've paid those kids well if they keep bringing my name up. I hope, man. You know, sometimes you never know, and it may be 10 years later, so you'll see some kid at a gas station, and it may be the kid you never thought you even reached, or, you know. He just comes over at a gas station, starts talking to you and telling you hi and all that kind of stuff, and, you know, thanks you. And you walk away going, man, 10 years ago, I never thought that kid ever listened to me, cared about me, hated me. And then 10 years later, here he is thanking you and all. I mean, you never know. You may not see the immediate impact of it, but you're having a difference. There's no doubt.
It really is, man. You know, I always say those kids will forever be a better actor than you are a teacher.
Yeah.
And even, you know, my 20th year of teaching, they'd fake me out every time. I would think, that kid, he just hates it. He hates me. Yeah. And I would see the kid later, you know, like you said, Bowman. Oh my God, dude, you?
Yeah.
Oh man, your class was awesome. I was like, no, you hated it. No, I didn't.
Yeah.
No, you did. You said the words. I hate it. You even said I hate you. It's like, man, you gave me the finger. Oh, I didn't mean that.
That was number one.
Yeah, I didn't mean that, man. It was awesome. It's the funniest thing.
Yeah.
And it's like those kids you never would expect it are like the first ones.
Yeah, I throw my hands up like they're about to hit me or something to protect myself. And they're like, no, man, I'm giving you a hug. I'm like, hey, what? Huh? Are you crazy?
Yeah.
It's crazy. But, man, I appreciate everything you do. You know, you take time to drive in from Houston all the time to help our little community. So, man, you're more valuable than you know, I promise you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, man. Thank you so much.
You're welcome,
High
buddy.
five,
Anytime.
brother.
Yeah,
There you go.
That's what I'm talking about.
All right. Take care.
Yeah.